G'day Fisho, Sammy here. Thanks for joining me. Now today we're going to be continuing on with our soft plastics tutorials. We're going to be having a discussion about jig heads. Now jig heads are probably one of the most important things when it comes to soft plastics fishing, and without the correct one, you may as well just have slept in and stayed at home. On the market there's literally hundreds of different types of jig heads, and it can be quite confusing which one to pick. You've got little ones like this guy here, and then they go all the way up to big ones like that. Some serious bits of kit. Now choosing the right one can be quite daunting if you don't know exactly what you're looking for. So we're going to go through what I look for and how I match up the jig head to each particular plastics. Now I'm not going to show you how to rig them today, but this is just choosing your jig heads. Very important though, so make sure you tune in. Let's get to it. Okie doke, so there's three things that I look for when choosing a jig head. Now the first one is the weight, the second one is the hook size, and the third is the style. Now we're going to start off with style. Now choosing the correct style of jig head to suit your application is imperative to the success of that session. So I've got with me a few different styles here from the Tackle Tactics range, or TTs, very popular here in Australia, and it just shows the different styles you can get. So first one we've got here is a weedless presentation, or snagless. Now this allows you to cast into snags. The hook is sitting flush with the top of the plastic. It's going to go past snags, not get hung up, but when a fish bites, it's got that big gape, that hook point is then exposed, and it's game time. So snaggy areas, lots of weed, these guys are going to be your choice. Another one I've got here is called a hidden weight system. Very big in the light tackle, so your brim, your flathead, that sort of scene, whiting even, where you actually hide the weight inside the plastics. And this is what they look like, not rigged. You'll see there, that weight is internal. They're great for where you want to have a level sink, not so much a head forward sink, and you want it to be nice and subtle. It's a very subtle presentation. You can't see the big head hanging out the end. So great for fussy fish, your brim, your whiting, your flathead. All those situations are going to be great. Even snapper. Snapper can get quite touchy at times, so the hidden weight can be the go for them. Then you've got your traditional style jig head, and that's where you've got the weight forward, you've got the main lead head up the top, you got a little keeper section here, and the hook eye coming out the top as well. So that's a standard one. 90% of the time that would have been what you've used in the past. Now there is also a new style out by Tackle Tactics, that's the headlocks, and these would be my new favourite and my new go-to style of jig head. That little keeper hook there allows that plastic to stay on no matter how hard those fish try and pull it off, and that's really good. You get a hit, if you miss it, you can still continue working your plastic until you hook that fish. So that's just a few of the different styles that are out there, but you do have to kind of customize that selection to what you want to achieve from your fishing. Now, the next one I'd be looking at is the weight. What sort of weight we're going to need. Now obviously, something like that is going to be starkly different to something like this. That's a 4 ounce compared to a 3/8. So when I'm looking for the weights that I'm going to use, I like to take into consideration the area I'm going to fish. Now, how deep is that area? How much current is going to be there? And how quickly I want that plastic to sink. So for example, if I'm chasing snapper, I want that plastic to slowly waft down because I know they like to eat the plastic on the drop. They're big drop feeders. They're not so much about the jig. They'd rather eat on the drop. So I want that plastic to slowly make its way down, drift nice and naturally, but still get to the bottom fairly quickly. From there, I can jig it up off the bottom and allow it to sink again, and that's when I know those snapper are going to take the bait. If I was chasing something a bit more pelagic, like casting a plastic into a school of tuna, or fishing for flathead or something like that, that's somewhere where I'd like to overweight my plastic so it really sinks down quick. So for tuna, for instance, I want a nice heavy head there so I can punch out a long cast. For flathead, they're going to be feeding all on the sea floor. So something like this, even though it's a small plastic, I'd be happy to rig that on a 1/2 ounce jig head to make sure it stays down on the bottom. Now if I was chasing something like a kingfish, where I'll be ripping that plastic in and trying to get as much movement, and they're just getting a reaction bite, they're seeing it whiz out of the way and they want to smash it there and then, again, I'd be really weighting up that plastic quite heavily so it gets down there fast and I can jig it up really quickly. Thinking about where you're going to go and what you're targeting and how those fish feed is going to go a long way to ensuring you purchase the right weight. Now, it also means it's probably a good idea to have a selection. Now I often take a whole swag of different weights with me because I know once I get out there, if I get out there and the current's not running, I can use this jig head. if it is running, I can use another one. So it does pay to be prepared. So when you get out there, you make the most of your fishing chances and you have the perfect jig head to suit that condition. Now, the next one we look at is hook size. Now, as you can see here, there's a big difference in the plastics that we can use. And again, you've got to narrow down the species you want to target and the plastic you want to use for that area before you go purchasing your jig head. As a general rule, you can fit the hook to the plastic fairly easily. And you do that by lining it up. Say for example here, we've got a 5-inch jerk shad. I've got a 3/0 jig head here. Now if I line that up together, you'll see the hook only comes out here. So just towards the head of the plastic. In some cases that'd be alright, but I feel like I'd need a bit more hook coverage because it's quite a large bait, it's a 5-inch bait. So I want the hook to come out mid-back. So that 3/0, it's a bit small. Whereas if I line up something like this 5/0, you can see that hook lines up there and comes out mid-back. And I'd say that's pretty well perfect. The same with our little grub tails. You can see the hook is coming out just before the tail there, so midway down the plastic. And that's a good start. The fish will come through, eat the body of that, and they'll get hooked. There is such thing as overhooking your plastic, so putting too big of a hook through. So if I was to put, say this 8/0, if I was to put that through a 5-inch, you'll see there it covers too much of the plastic. It covers too much, it comes out too far towards the back, and that starts to limit the action of the plastic. So it restricts the movement of the tail, and you don't get that same nice fluid, lifelike action you would if you hook it correctly. Now that's just a few little helpful hints to help you out with your soft plastics and choosing jig heads. Now soft plastics is a great form of fishing, so if you are new to it, keep at it, it is really good fun. If you are in the market for some new soft plastics, check out the range from Z-Man and TT's. They've got plenty of jig heads, plenty of styles of plastics to suit all applications, and I've been very impressed with them. I've been using these since they came here in Australia. Absolutely fantastic. That's all from me, guys. Stay tuned for plenty of more of the soft plastic series, but take care, good luck out there. Catch you later.